Lots of FUD spreading around GME as Roaring Kitty declares his massive position and in-the-money options contracts. It is showing in the price action the need to bring price below the $20 strike to render those contracts worthless. I have spotted a few signals in the price that can oppose that bear thesis, though. Welcome back to the channel on this Taco Tuesday. This is ARCa, and let's pop into GameStop. Let's kill him, team. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. Okay, let's dive in to GME on a daily time frame. I'm just going to go ahead and start this one off here with a positive note, right? Because it appears as though retail has been kind of smashed around. Price action is kind of lingering in the downside, lingering around inflection points that can introduce lower targets. So I got something to show you here, right? So let's take a look at this real quick. This is kind of displaying like a Picasso of like candles, right? A splatter of candles everywhere. And you know, usually when you see assets like this, you're like, you know what? I'm probably going to stay away from that asset and probably trade something a little safer, right? So let me just go ahead and kind of give you a different perspective here. These are your regular candles, right? So why don't we just go ahead and pop open those Heikin-Ashi candles, the trend candles, right? They can show you a little bit of a different perspective to show you what's actually being drawn here. So for those of you who understand, check this out. As you switch into the Heikin-Ashi candles, you can see that this is actually more or less a bullish setup coming in, right? Some people may identify this as a cup and handle, right? So actually that may be the case, right? All right. So if that were the case, I gotta say that this would be a massive target, right? And it is suggesting something that's just way up there, right? So just take this with a grain of salt. This may very well be introducing the $80 target again, but let's go ahead and take a trend line here from the top end into this area here. But you know what? I feel like it would be a little safer just to consider the lower bound targets, right? We're going to take the opening and closing bases of the candles themselves instead of the range high using those wicks, right? So in this case, we could just, express a little bit of a safer target. If you want, I'll go ahead and present both of them, but this one here may more or less bring us above the $60 zone, right? So if we take a trend line there from the bottom side of the trend all the way to the top of that cup and apply it to the top end of that handle, right, which could be right in here, let's go ahead and observe what that price action could be. So check it out. It would lead us to about $64.83. Of course, the top end that we experienced here intraday, just after actually price action ended up reaching that $80 zone, we ended up reaching $64.83. Very, very confluent with that target there. Now, what if we can geometrically back that, right? If we take let's just take a swing, high to swing low, candle, a fib retracement, right? So check it out. Actually, we do have a very nice area right in here at the 1.618 golden mean, $72.73. But the important thing is the zone that we're marking off right here. Let me just go ahead and show you the power of what we're observing here. And there you go. Bam, right? We have the 50% zone landing right at the cup and handle target. We have the 1.618 at 72.73 right at that top end right here. And of course, the previous intraday high at 64.83. Awesome zone to consider there. Of course, we have other things to look at, right? This area in particular here, the candle closing in this zone here was 53.60, and we're getting a 1.272 read of 53.78. So it is geometrically rhyming, right? And it is geometrically confluent. So let's go ahead and take a look at now some posts that I would love to show you, right? This is, I just wanted to start off. It off with a positive note here for my retail, because I know the pressure that you guys are under. Please be aware. Please be careful with everything that you're trying to do here while trading or investing in GameStop. Of course, this is heavily manipulated, and there are there is a lot of FUD around it, right? So I just want you to be as careful as you can. Remember that I am a short bias trader, and I am expressing to you the short bias so that the longs can actually take advantage of it here, because I'm pretty upset at what the capital markets have been doing here to the new participants. This is not what the capital markets were supposed to be from the very beginning. So fuck it. I'll show you the short thesis, and the longs can benefit from it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some posts right up here. And let's see what we have, right? So check this out. Moon Market, my buddy, he posts no post from Roaring Kitty after hours on his GME YOLO update. It looks like they are doing anything in their power to silence and get rid of him. Just in, Roaring Kitty GameStop trades come under probe by Massachusetts regulator, right? So let's just go ahead and take a look at the next post here from Unusual Whales, which kind of elaborates a little more into this probe, right? So check this out. The Massachusetts Securities Regulator has said they are investigating the Roaring Kitty for his GME GameStop positions, but Massachusetts politicians have been trading themselves. Let's look at Massachusetts reps and their trading, right? Check this out right here. We're talking about a congressional subcommittee on labor, right? Health and Human Services. She bought shares in HoloLogic, right? This ticker symbol HOLO, which has been ripping. A week before the U.S. Department of Health awarded the company a $119 million COVID-19 contract, she sold after the share spiked days later. Now, this rep right here was months late disclosing stock sales, never faced a penalty. This guy right here was also late failing to disclose his ROST sales and TJX buys. This guy right here sold $250,000 of ATVI Activision on June 13th. Later that exact day, the Activision and Microsoft acquisition was blocked from the U.S. while this guy was just liquidating his green. Right, this rep right here traded stock before the COVID drop and bought tons of tech stocks before vaccines were announced. Most of their portfolios are beating the market at the moment, so overperforming the broader markets and the tech markets. Right, really interesting how all that comes out, and no one is taking a look at that. No one is probing them. But once a retail investor starts to win here, then that becomes this right here, right? The SEC, when GME is naked short at 313% of the float, when Roaring Kitty posts memes. Right, that's kind of what I meant right there. Now, Unusual Whales is posting here. It does not look like Roaring Kitty has exited his GME GameStop June 21st $20 calls. He is up still 40% on them at close, or worth around $100 million. Yesterday, we noticed that they were worth around $85 million in profits. Still pretty good, right? So still waiting on the official update on Super Stonk, as he has not updated his position just yet. But yeah, the volume hasn't changed inside of those options contracts, with 140,000 open interest at the June 21st expiries, $20 strike long calls, right? So it is what it is, right? So let's go ahead and now bring it back here into the analysis, into the chart, and observe something that's going on right now. So yes, just I guess a little bit more of that. What are we going to call this, right? We're going to call this. I guess I have to call it hopium, because it still is the case, right? Any upside targets in reality is going to be hopium, right? But yeah, so take a look at this. This is a falling wedge. Usually this, part of the triangle family, this does have a bullish outlook, and it is a completely directional formation, meaning that this formation will perform an upside, whether it's built during an upside, right, or built during the downside. And but remember, it could be played both ways. I'm just speaking to you statistically how it tends to behave, right? So of course, triangle family formations do present three targets here. The first target to observe is the breakout target. In this case, we actually have to shift it just a little bit, since we got the first clean closed candle right above here, right? So let's just go ahead and kind of observe that target and readjust that take profit, right? So it would have been right about here. It tells us that the take profit would have been at about 27.89, right? So about 28.29, and the candle went as high as $28, right? So pretty impressive there that the candle ended up getting very close to the take profit. of that initial break, right? The second target to observe here would be from the center of the triangle, right? Remember that these triangles tend to break out when they approach 65 to 75% to the apex of the triangle, and they tend to have these upward bound targets based on the strategies that I'm teaching you here, right? So the reason why I know this, you guys, is because I am a stock instructor, right? Stock trading instructor. Get in touch with me at ArcMastersCourse at gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and get you into the 4 to 5 week beginners and charting program and mentorship, right? ArcMastersCourse at gmail.com. Get in touch with me there as soon as possible so that you could hold your seat, right? The enrollment is going to be ending here in about a week, and I want to make sure that I see you in class on those coming lectures, okay? Make a change for your trading, make a change for your career. Let's go ahead and make that happen here. Now, the next upside target here is based around the center of the triangle, right? So 50% the triangle gives you the 29.53, and of course, the 31.59 is observed from the largest end of the triangle, right? So from its hind, and this is looking at a potential confluent top to what we observed today in the pre-market of about $31.84. So this is how to calculate that, okay, you guys? Let's go ahead and by the way, guys, these targets, I'm giving them live. This is something that is absolutely happening live as we move inside of the ARCa Bulls trading team, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just add a link right up here for you to join that team, right? I want to see you there tomorrow morning. Let's make sure to take advantage of the capital markets the way that we're supposed to. Here's another thing that we observed in the ARCa Bulls trading team. This is the prior month candle, right? This large one here. We just closed that, and we just opened up the new one here. We were able to identify a potential 50% retracement based on the closing of this candle here. So 50% that retracement, if you just simply take let me just block out this the price action so you can see what that rectangle does, right? Check it out. It marks off the 50% for you, right? So when you draw that in, it just shows you where the halfway point is. It's very simple, right? Nothing. There's no incredible math to that. It is what it is. So let's go ahead and put price action right back in here and take a look. Take a look at price action right now. It's hovering around that 50% retracement of the prior month candle, and it's still sitting right now. With post hours is 26.77. Remember, we still have about another 28 minutes to market post market close, and the next opening will be at Euro Open 1 a.m. Pacific, 4 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Central. Okay, so if we're hovering around this bottom side here and we're kind of bouncing in and out of this, it's not telling you that this is it, right? What it is telling you is that this is the usual retracement, right? 44 to 50% retracement of the prior candle is usually what happens, right? It's entirely okay. So, even like, for example, here, right, this candle closed. You look at the entire range of this candle, right? 50% of this candle would be located right around this point here. The following candle opened, and it came down just slightly more than that 50% retracement, and then the new candle printed, right? So the new candle printed right here, opening on top, came all the way down here and closed right here. But guess what? The candle retraced to its 50% zone right here first, right? That's the wick. So red candles open on top, green candles open at the bottom. So this thing ended up making a run to the upside to the 50% area and then failed and closed down here, right? So that is typical behavior for candles to do. And this was the inverse side of it, and this was the natural side of it, right? It's okay. We just got to look at behavior, and we got to look at the higher probabilities. But when it comes to candles like this large, yeah, we're going to experience that. Now, and yes, we were observing here the inflection point. So I'm going to take you into this chart instead, right? This is the 5-minute chart, and I want to just go ahead and identify first by getting rid of the drawings that this is your true inflection right here on the 5-minute time frame, right? We observed this potential yesterday. We spoke about the targets of coming down to 25.25, and price action absolutely did, except that price action ended up reaching a low of 25.20. We spoke about 25.25, we hit 25.20, and then bounced right from that target to the upside. The ARCa Bulls team is definitely nailing the targets, and we're observing this live. Okay, so make sure to join the team immediately. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and bring in those drawings here and take a look. We are currently inside of a chop zone, right? We're in this area here. We need to break out. If we're going to break out to the upside, we need to get over, which is today's high, right? 27.97 in order for us to consider a break into the upper resistances, which would first be 29.74. So if we do break above this range here of 27.97, your next resistance is 29.74, where price action will essentially come back down just like this, validate the prior day's high, which is today's high, right? Then we'll get the bounce to the upside and we'll likely experience prior day's pre-market high, Euro Open, right around 31.03. So that 31.03 would introduce a resistance, and then we would come back and hover in this area here of about 29.74, right, before making a continuation to the upside if everything does lead to the way that it should be leading. The broader markets did make a pretty nice move to the upside, but it appears as though it's being manipulated in order to keep these massive meme stocks under control, right? So now you know the upper bounds, you know the lower bounds. Please remember to make sure to be careful in the broader markets, right? Join the ARCa Bulls team and take advantage of the 4 to 5 week mentorship program for beginners. It's not always going to be there, you guys. And I know I've said this before. There's just too many requests that are coming in, but I am getting closer and closer to just making sure that this is the final one forever. Okay, make sure to get in touch with me as soon as possible so that we can get you into that master's course and get you trading on the right path. All right, team? Thank you so much for coming on by, team. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Ever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well a very, very good rest of your night and or day, and I will catch you at the Bell Mañana. Adios, team.